Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. It's the final day of the Downtown Knoxville Boat Show. Get yourself down there and check out all the boats Madisonville Marine has brought to town. Great pricing, great selection. They got pontoons, deck boats, fishing boats, always at Madisonville Marine. Stop by and see them at the Downtown Knoxville Convention Center today, or stop by and see them later this week. Highway 411 North in Madisonville, because whether it's here or whether it's there, there's no better place to buy a boat than Madisonville Marine. All right, two quick questions here. First one goes to Josh and Vince, though I typed it here and it says Josh and Sense. Josh and Vince.
That's what's usually on my coffee order.
The Vols have watched their SEC rivals take greater advantage of the transfer portal to date. The wide receivers coach position is still open. It looks like there won't be a spring game this year. Has the positivity surrounding the UT program hit a speed bump? Has the momentum been slowed a bit since the bizarro loss to Purdue in the Music City Bowl? Has the momentum slowed, yay or nay?
I will say nay. I don't think it has for the program. I actually think kind of a quieter run for a couple months is good for Tennessee football. There's some national hype in terms of top 15, even top 10 talk heading into the year. And you have Hendon Hooker coming back. So I'll essentially say no, it hasn't stalled, because you have your quarterback with the big numbers coming back to go along with Cedric Tillman.
Yeah, and I think after this weekend, you're going to hear a lot of people say really positive things about Tennessee from the big junior camp. And I think that's a huge thing. Maybe it doesn't get the big headlines, but being able to get those kids on this campus with already what they have to sell in actual results and style of play from a year ago, I think you'll see that positivity move forward. So it's not necessarily in headlines right now, but it's just in what they've been able to do. And I think they'll get that coach hired fairly soon as well.
Okay. Jimmy and Chuck, I love this. The Athletic surveyed Georgia fans this week regarding their program. This is the same Georgia program that won the national championship less than 2 months ago, their first national title in 40 years. 26% of the Georgia fans surveyed said Georgia needs to win at least one more national title during this stretch, or else it is a failure to capitalize. So a quarter, 26% say, got to win a second national championship, or this is a failure to capitalize. A little more than 8%, it's a small percentage until you hear the question. 8% of Georgia fans said Kirby Smart needs to win at least one more national championship for his tenure to be a success. Not a success yet. My question, and look, Georgia fans are crazy, Tennessee fans are crazy. Everybody, we're fans of our own teams too, and everybody's got a little bit of crazy. That's that whole fan thing, fanatic. But my question is more about the media here. Jimmy and Chuck, would you have heard responses like that pre-social media, pre-TV and radio talk shows, pre-message? If you go back to the 1980s, early 90s, before all this stuff exploded, would you have had fans saying, 25% of fans saying, nah, we really got to win another national championship or else this is a failure? Or do you think it's a product of all the media?
If they said it, you wouldn't know about it.
True. Okay, maybe that's it.
So that's a big part of it, I think. And here's the other thing, too. Georgia's only won one national championship in 40 years. Right, Chuck?
Right. That's right,
What have they
Jimmy.
done? So, yeah, I think that there is a greater impatience. There's a greater voice that people feel like they have. The media's contributed to it. Social media's contributed to it. So, yeah, I don't think we would have been hearing as much griping as we do now.
Well, what would you do before? Write a letter to the editor? Put a stamp on it, put it in the mailbox, and it may or may. Now everybody's got the voice, but I would say for the Georgia fans, be careful what you're asking for. Be careful how high you're setting your expectations, because everybody's not going to be able to win that national title, even in a 3-5 year period. It may not happen again.
Well, according to that, you would have to say that Philip Fulmer's run was not a success. Mm-hmm. Well, the end of it wasn't a success, but pretty doggone successful to be a top 10 program, top 5 a lot of those years. Didn't win the second national championship, but
he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's not a success kind of thing. And Kirby Smart's he's on path to have a better career than Philip Fulmer right now. Those things tend to change, as Philip Fulmer found out. But the fact that they're saying that's not a success, and you get 25% of them saying you got to win another one or else it's a failure to capitalize. I just think it's social media, which is you, but our talk shows, everything else has opened it up to where it used to just be letter to the editor, or you'd hear the crazy guy who was always ranting at the barbershop, and he'd leave and everybody just kind of rolled their eyes.
Yeah.
Now that guy can get online or on a show, and you got all the other nuts out there going, yeah, I agree with him. And I think it ramps it up.
And you know what I always wonder, John, if you could track down if this person is actually a real person, but if they are and they have a job, what if the same expectations was
I always
placed on
love that.
them at their business or their job?
always
You
love
know,
that.
it's a totally different story.
That's the old no excuses. How many of us really want that applied to us?
Exactly.
anything.
Exactly.
I mean, that's like something the rabble rousing. Right.
The double R.
When we come back, the SEC tournament, let's take a look. Does Tennessee win it? If not, where do they go out and who puts them out? Our projections are next. Come on back on the Sports Source.